Well, Malou, this budget has been described by others, by pundits, as one of the worst budgets, one of the most corrupt. What would you say would be your reaction when this came out? Ano mga napansin mo?
Well, sa budget, I was so shocked because health and education is the number one mandate from the Constitution, and health is because of the Universal Health Care Law. It covers all Filipinos. So to put zero on the subsidy, I don't think that can even be vetoed. Tama yung reporter nyo, they should go back to the BICAM and settle those issues because if the allocation is zero, there is nothing to veto. So, a very transactional budget. It tells you there's so many funds that are being used for purposes other than what is required by law. So, from the NEP, it would show that on the second year, last year, the NEP was set aside and there's a huge unprogrammed fund. Today, it's the same, but it's worse because of what they did with PhilHealth and DepEd as well as DPWH.
Malou, a lot of pundits are also saying this is a, kumbaga, quote-unquote, it's an insult to the president, no? Because as a chief executive, siya talaga yung may alam nung cash flow natin, kung saan ba dapat ilagay yung pera. All the reports go to his office, and kumbaga parang na-etchapuera yung spending plan na pinropose ni President Marcos. Another shocking thing for me was his reaction, which was not so mad. What did you make of that?
Yes, Sean, I agree with you. I mean, if you're as the chief executive officer, whenever financial statements are being made and submitted to you, you always look at the sources of fund, the revenues. Is there a shortfall? We have a 15 trillion debt. And the revenues are really very short. That's why they keep saying on the fiscal space that is needed. But here you see that there is a lot of leeway given to Congress, even to increase I don't know for what, they increase the budget for the House and the Senate. And then there is that 340 billion insertion in DPWH. So this is not fiscal restraint, it's really greed because of the way the allocation have been made, setting aside the national expenditure program of the president and the SONA directives that were given.
And what do you make of his reaction, which was actually just yesterday and today, nakapag-react siya, sabi niya, papalitan niya. First, sinabi niya na he will do something about DepEd, but not about PhilHealth. And then today, another ambush interview, he declared that he will not be signing on December 20, that he will meticulously go through the budget line by line, which kind of gives us the idea na gagamitin niya yung veto powers niya. What do you make of the president's reaction now, just this week?
Well, I'm surprised at the reactions, no? Because it's a pendulum swing from one end to the other. I take it to mean as someone who has not digested the report given to him and how far, I mean, even if you just do a variance review from the NEP to the GAB, you will see really a reprioritization made. So I don't know if he's talking to his political leaders or the political leaders are telling the president, this is what we want and this is the priorities that we want to pursue. Somewhere along the way, that was discussed during the LEDAC. And interestingly, even the macroeconomic assumptions were not taken into consideration. So, hindi ko alam kung hindi niya binabasa yung mga report niya kasi yung utterances niya, ibang-iba based dun sa documents na nakita natin.
Okay, well, Malou, part of the budget, of course, is the OVP funds. It was quite controversial also at one point. It was slashed by more than half, and now it's already at 733 million pesos. But if we also recall, may ilang senador din, di ba, who vowed to restore that budget of the OVP. What do you make of that?
Well, again, that is the impact of the political persecution done on the vice president. If you look at the extra money that is being realigned or being placed in certain agencies, in certain branches, to cut the budget of the vice president was really a political act on the part of the majority in the Senate and in the House. There was an attempt, yes, you're correct, in the Senate to bring it back to the NEP status, but again, politics reared its ugly head and decided to cut it. Still, I think the vice president made clear whatever is given her, she will try to make use of it, and this is where you will see her willingness to bite the bullet. You cut so much on my budget, but I will still try to give what I have planned for the OVP.
Let's just lay it down on the table. We know that you're a supporter of Vice President Sara Duterte. In fact, we can see you in green. Very, very clear to us. No? But I want to get your thoughts on ACAP. It is one of the more controversial provisions of the budget. In-insert lang yan sa BICAM. It is getting a huge amount. Tapos inuohan na rin ng Senado nung nagkaroon sila ng 5 billion na allocation dito. But we do know it is not only ACAP that is a form of dole-out, but also AIX, which started during the time of President Duterte.
Yes.
Both, as they say, promote the culture of patronage politics, of ayuda, of dole-outs, especially on a year where it is an election year. I want to know your thoughts on both, and what does this say about, this whole budget?
Well, AIX, there's actual rules and regulations on AIX. AIX came about because of COVID. It is a post-COVID safety net. Ayuda, on the other hand, is something that was created by the House of Representatives. In fact, the transcript will bear us out where the SWD were saying, we do not know anything about that. We do not know the rules and regulations about that. We will probably consult with the Speaker of the House. So this is the second year that Ayuda will show itself in the budget. And if you take a closer look at Ayuda, Gretchen, there is no specific sum that you allocate for Ayuda is supposed to be for those who were entrepreneurs who were affected, but they later on changed that into distributing Ayuda in malls, distributing 5,000 to 8,000 to 10,000. And since it is government project, COMELEC allowed its distribution. Imagine the impact of the distribution of those billions of pesos pre-campaign. So it is not a wise use of money. You could have placed it in TESDA and come up with a short program for the retraining and retooling of entrepreneurs. Certainly, the safety net is now becoming more and more buying voters. And if you introduce the changing price protocol on how much ayuda you are giving, to whom and which area.
Let me try to kind of divert the conversation for a bit. I'm not sure if you tuned in to the plenary session earlier where the Quadcom chairman made some privileged speeches.
Well, it's unfortunate how politics is turning out in this country. The House of Representatives has been towing the line and really attacking the Dutertes, putting together POGO, extrajudicial, as well as the drugs. I think is a huge overextension for the simple fact that in POGO, the president actually said remove the POGO. He he issued the executive order to regulate it and to make sure that they conform with the law. On EJK, well, your guest is a noted lawyer on that. Cases should be filed if there are cases that are warranted to be filed. On the illegal drugs, that's a two-sided thing. There are people who are saying it's good, and communities were able to be peaceful, and the impact of drugs contained. And there's the other side of abuse. I guess the best way is to remove it from the political terrain and really file cases in court, because until we are in the House of Representatives, it will just be political persecution.
Well, they've already made, Malou, sorry, they've already made recommendations just like at 6 p.m. tonight to file charges against former President Digong, against Senators Bato and Bongo, as well as former PNP chiefs Albayalde, De Bolsinas, Reina Garma, and Edelberto Leonardo et al. Kasama rin doon. Do you think gagalaw yung mga ahensya on filing these cases? And where do you think it's going to end up?
I would like to wait for DOJ and the private prosecutors who will file the cases. Hearing that from a politician who has been doing 13 hearings and really something else. They're for move and file. I mean, our courts are working. If those who felt aggrieved need redress, the court will be the right room and not the representatives or the public opinion.
Okay, I guess it's time to move on to impeachment, unless Gretchen has.
Speaking of being in the courts, so one thing that's not discussed in the courts but discussed in the chamber is impeachment. I wonder, have you spoken with the Vice President on that? And what is your fearless forecast for impeachment given the tight timelines that we have prior to the midterm elections?
Just to directly reply, no, I have not talked with the Vice President on that. I have reviewed the two impeachment complaints. One is based in news articles and the old story of Senator Trillanes, and the second is based on the hearings of Quad and the good government. I agree with you, the timing is really off. They're going on a recess now. And then they will be back mid-January to be off by first week of February. So the session days remaining there are really very few. And then there is talk that there's a third impeachment where they are trying to get one third of the signatures of members of the House, so that it will just go directly to the Senate. If you do that in the Senate, there will be 12 who will be 6 who will be running for re-election, and 7 running for re-election, and 5 ending their term. So it's going to be very hard for the impeachment court to be convened if we are very near election time.
But they always say, Malou, if there is a will, there is a way, and we've
in
seen...
politics, yes.
Shortcut, pwede kumuha ng signature sa Kongreso.
Have you heard anything?
Yung plano nila, yung 1/3. So, I don't know if they got the 1/3 kasi walang ang balita ko, nagkakahirapan sa pirmahan.
In Congress?
In Congress, yeah. In the House of Reps.
So, parang according to your bubwits, no, na hindi talaga mabubuo yung 103 names.
Yun yung pinagtatakan ko, no? The sudden change in tone of the President, na una sinabi niya, papalagan niya si VP. Tapos susunod sabi niya, VP Sara is unimportant and this is a waste of time. I mean, what do you think caused that sudden pendulum swing with the President's tone, I think, which confused everybody in the House of Representatives?
Okay, wait dagdagan ko lang, Malou, yung tanong ni Gretchen kasi gusto rin kitang itanong dun eh. It would seem, no, kanina nga nung naglabas ng Malacanang, si S. Bersamin na nagsasabi nga na mas kikilatisin muna nila line by line yung budget. Sabi ko, parang nakikinig naman sila sa taong bayan. Nung nagkakagulo yung mga taong bayan din, no, social media about impeachment, bigla rin siyang kind of parang nag-iba yung ihip nung hangin. Do you think the president actually is reactionary and does listen to the will of the people? Ironically.
Well, I know if election that he is very driven. Decisions are made on surveys that are coming out showing that in his approval and trust. Listening to the people, I think it's kind because he has never listened to the people. He has to listen because we are in a state of influx in terms of politics, and there is a tipping point that will be very near, either from his side or this side. So in order to manage and to prevent that tipping point from occurring, he has to really listen to the ground. People are going out and telling him there is something wrong with the budget. We do not like what is happening in PhilHealth. We do not like what is happening in Congress. There's so much politics. He has to rein in his political group for the leader to really shine and for the leader to really call the shots.
And do you think that is why nagkakahirapan, no, so to speak, yung pag-gather ng signatures for impeachment sa Kongreso because you know, the president did say na ayaw niya, and it would seem like the congressmen are willing to follow that order since nagkakahirapan nga. Yeah.
Agree with you. When that text was released and he confirmed that the text came from him, most legislators were saying, oh, kung wala naman palang order si presidente, bakit tayo, di ba? So, nagsabi na siya. Makikita mo yung swing is 180 eh. From one point to another point, which are not in sync with what leadership is all about.
Wait, so
he has
Malou,
to be forthright with people.
So Malou, do you believe that the calls to impeach the vice president do not come from the president? Do you believe that?
I think that is strategic movement by the president. They are testing the waters. He probably allowed someone to, pursue the impeachment as a logical occurrence coming from the dawn presser of the vice president. But with the reaction of the people, and the Iglesia ni Cristo, about to flex its muscle, I think realpolitik and pragmatism has been introduced into the frame. That is why the president is trying to see where he can gain leverage.
At least there is that for now.
Great insight. Thank you so much for weighing in on with us on the big story tonight. We have political strategist Malou Tiquia.